out there, and welcome to the Six Dorans Show. I'm your host, Jacob Sminted Sanders. As usual, I'm joined by Jamie Selceus Christensen. He's right below me. And then right below him is Tanner Blitzerama Brelje. And get that smirk off your face, Selceus, because I know you were waiting for me to fuck.
I was thinking the whole time you had it written down, like
no,
right in front of your face, so you didn't fuck up this.
But I'll tell you this: I practiced it in the shower. I took 30 minutes ago. That's not a joke.
I believe you.
That's fair.
Now the goal is to get through the outro as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
Usually the outro's not bad. It's just the last one was bad. I actually need to watch that, how that looks, because I bet you it was actually pretty good. Anyway, if you're brand new to the show, thank you for tuning in. For context, I usually really fuck up our intros every time. Look at the past 4 videos to this. Just the first 20 seconds, you'll see I stutter, I miss words, That's why the last episode was called Words Are Hard. So, yeah.
I think you may have even fucked up your own name last week.
Oh, I did. It was bad. So, I mean,
it's all right. We just like to give him a hard time.
Yeah. Anyways, so if you're new here, a little bit about what we do, because we are promoting, and I wanted to talk about that for a bit. We are a show that likes to go over the LEC and the LCS. We provide a little bit of coverage on the some specific games that we like to point out. And we typically will talk about like a storyline with a couple teams. It's usually the top teams, sometimes the bottom teams if they're like really bad. Like last week we had a highlight on Excel, which was actually kind of fun to talk about, but also frustrating because of, well, how frustrating it is to watch Excel sometimes.
Because it's a little too late.
You know, and of course we talked about G2, obviously. You know, there's always a conversation for them. Splice coming up. Last week we also talked about TSM. CLG, Cloud9, Optic. We actually talked about a lot of NA. I think the only thing we really didn't talk about was Team Liquid and Echo Fox, because that's our clear number 1 and our clear number 10.
And this week we've got at least a little bit to say about Echo Fox.
Yeah, we do. So, you know, it changes every time, and I wouldn't call us necessarily a highlight show, but we definitely like to talk about what's going on and provide some insight on what we think as we go through, and hopefully be entertaining about it. So... That being said, let's get, what were we going to say?
I guess just to finish adding on to that, then we always do go over the matchups for the upcoming week and make picks as well. So,
yeah. So that being said, let's head over to the eastern side of the world, where we go to Europe, because we always do Europe first, because they always start first. The way Europe is looking right now, honestly, it's pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think like G2 is like the clear number 1. Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
Do we agree with that?
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say I hope we don't disagree there. They better be the clear number 1.
After the week they played Fnatic, it was an argument, but then this last week happened.
But I think what's really nice though is like, Europe has finally like stacked itself out for playoffs. Like, we got a clear number 1 in G2, Fnatic's at 2nd, Splice at 3rd, Schalke put themselves at 4th. I was really impressed by Schalke. They're actually a team I'm going to talk about. Origin being very middling at 5-5. This was the Origin I expected last split, and for whatever reason they popped off last split. But this is the Origin I expected last split, and here they are. Rogue at 4-6. That's kind of nice. A different team competing for the 6th place spot. Vitality at 4-6. SK at 3-7. Misfits at 3-7. And XL at 1-9. So, there isn't really like a scuffle, I would say, going on in Europe right now. Now, there's something to be said that, you know, the difference between 5th and 9th place is not far. You know, 5th place has 5 wins and 9th place has 3 wins. So, I mean, if SK really wanted to, they could steal a spot from Origin or even Rogue or Vitality, who are tied for 6th at 4-6. So,
right. And they still have, like, they just hit the halfway point too. So
yeah. So at the bottom of the table, I think there's a lot of movement to be shown. At the top of the table, I don't think so much. And the reason I say that is because despite the fact that Splice lost to 2 teams underneath them, they did beat Fnatic. That was the team they beat. The only team above them that they lost to was G2 Esports. So 2 of their losses came to teams below them. I think that was just the Splice that was growing, and I fully expect Splice to go, I would argue, 7-2 in these not 7-2, 7-1 or 6-2 in their last 8 games. I don't think that's a lofty expectation. I think Splice has played very well, and they started 7-3, right? So expecting them to go 6-2, I don't think is a very high expectation. They're a team that likes to control the early game, control the mid game, and then pop off post 25 minutes. Now, that does concern me for them going into playoffs because they need to be aggressive if they want to beat teams like G2 or Fnatic, which that was how they beat Fnatic, right? They were aggressive in that game. It was a little clown fiesta, but like they were aggressive, and they need to put out that kind of play style if they want to contend for the summer championship. So, team I do want to really dive into is Schalke. This was a team I kind of wrote off. I'm not gonna lie. I know we were only 4 weeks in, but I wrote them off. I didn't think.
I believe that you said Abadage was, or was it a
the
different
worst
mid laner?
Yeah, he popped off this
Yeah, for
weekend
real.
too.
He looks good on Assassins.
Yeah, he did look very good. He might just be an assassin player. Like, hey, if that's his strength, let him play it, right?
Yeah.
But they only beat Vitality and Excel. Let's start there first, right? But like, I didn't even like expect them to like beat Excel and Vitality as well as they did. And despite the competition not being stiff, this is all competition below them, and you're supposed to beat competition below them. And I didn't even know if they were going to do that or not. Right? I didn't think they looked that great. They did it. So, I wrote them off as a 5th or 6th place team that was just going to lose in quarterfinals. I still kind of think that, but considering how I have my top 3 teams at, Splice, Fnatic, and G2, there's a room for a 4th team that could make semifinals, and that sure as hell could be Schalke. I really don't see it being any of these other teams. Like, I don't see it being Origin. I really don't think they'll make 4th place. I don't see it being Rogue. I really don't see it being Vitality. So, like, it was awesome to see Rogue like push themselves up there, and they are in the 4th place spot right now. So only technically 1 game behind, Splice, and 2 games behind Fnatic. That's not bad for 5 weeks in. So, I just wanted to give a shout out to Schalke. I liked Abadage's improved play against both Jizuke and who is Excel's mid laner.
Mickey.
That's right, Mickey. That's right. So it's a place to start, right? Everyone's got to start somewhere. So if Schalke can like give me some wins against, I don't know, this sounds kind of shitty, but like SK, Rogue, and all these other teams as well, if they can like just cement themselves, hey, we are a top half team, I think that'd be pretty cool and a lot better than when I was just writing them off at 4-4.
I think it's interesting that you picked those 2 teams to be like the bar to say that they're the top half. Like,
well,
I want to see them beat Origin,
well.
right? Like, SK is still sitting in 8th or 9th place, So like, I wouldn't think that is a huge victory for a top 4 team. I want to see them beat Origin. Rogue impressed me this last weekend. I thought that they looked really good. But even them, I guess, with them being, this only being their 2nd split, and they haven't done anything really in the past, I don't know if that would be like super impressive to me either. Because Schalke has been around for a while, so like they, in my opinion, they have the experience that they should be able to beat a team like Rogue. Origin and Vitality are the teams that I guess I would look at and be like, if you can beat these teams that have been around for a long time, even though Vitality has not looked good, really, this split, they are looking better. And because of that, they, sit tied for 6th place. So I would think of it as more of a success if they were able to beat Vitality than I would if they beat SK or even Rogue at this point. But definitely Origin. If they could beat Origin, then I think that like I would officially put them ahead of Origin in my personal rankings, because they've shown that they deserve to be there. And we have to remember that Origin just last split made it to the finals. So
yeah, was that an accident? It's starting to look like an accident.
Not last split.
Yeah, I mean, Origin of last split looked fine. I
They
think they
different
were
than they do now.
for sure.
So there's something that I genuinely believe in when we talk about some championships, and I'm going to make a relationship to sports here real quickly. There are some teams who probably should not have won an NBA championship or a Super Bowl. I say this with a little bit of my pride being taken away. Like the Baltimore Ravens, if you really want to talk about them, probably shouldn't have won the Super Bowl the year they did. They had a number 16 defense and a number 11 offense. They had nothing that was great about them whatsoever other than top 5 coaching, right? And I've always talked about how coaching can take rosters farther than they should go. CLG is a great example of that, this split. Not that CLG hasn't improved player-wise or anything, but like, I hate the guy, but like
I was waiting for like the break to happen in Sanders' brain.
He's done a wonderful job, Coach.
Praising Weldon right now.
Yeah, Weldon's done a great job coaching CLG. What can I say, dude? He finally learned how the game works, because when he was with TSM, I certainly disagreed with how he thought the game worked.
Well, plus not even CLG, but C9's been like a constant example of that throughout the entirety of Reaper's career there.
Reaper. Yeah, that's a great...
because like no matter, even if the teams look evenly matched, Reaper just always seems to get them one step ahead, which is...
Oh yeah, for sure. Whether it's in the drafting phase or whatever it may be, yeah. So, but like the Ravens, like they just got hot, right? They got hot and they never looked back. Joe Flacco became elite for 4 games in a row, never looked back, right? And they won the Super Bowl because of that. I certainly believe Origin was kind of like that team last split. They got hot, they stayed hot, and the real Origin finally stood up the split. They're the average team we thought they were.
But hot stretches, like, you know, that is the team at that time, and the one difference to the traditional sport that analogy that you're making is that these are best of series. So they didn't just get hot in a one-game series.
Smashed 0-6 by the real champions.
However, the team that nobody expected them to beat in Fnatic.
Well, they beat Fnatic. Yeah,
I was shit out of it.
I was shocked about that. Yeah, I was genuinely surprised by that. So, while we're on the topic of Origin, unless you had something else you wanted to go off of from there.
Well, I mean, we did talk about Fnatic for a second. I don't know if we're going to, but I just wanted to say a piece really quick about Fnatic.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for some reason during the split, during this weekend, I'm not sure if you guys picked up on this either. Fnatic did suffer their second loss, and that was when they were playing, oh man, what's the kid's name that they had in the mid lane?
Nemesis and Magiflex.
Yeah, Magiflex. So they played a game with Nemesis in the bot lane and Magiflex in the middle, just so they could give Magiflex some playing time. Completely understandable, whatever. And then what ended up happening was, they end up losing that game. And the entire time afterwards, after they took that second loss, there was this kind of overarching theme almost from all of the casters and from all of the people that interviewed them, that they were kind of implying that Fnatic was somehow lesser of a team because of these 2 losses
which meant nothing.
Which to me, I was flabbergasted by. I thought like Shox was literally sitting there asking Broxa, like, "Oh yeah, well, I mean, we think of you guys as like the team that went to Worlds and did all of these amazing things. Just like, so why are you guys like losing just these 2 games? And one of the games is an obvious loss because you had Magiflex in there or something like that. It just astounded me. This really isn't much of a point about Fnatic. I just thought the EU casting this week was really bad. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't know if anybody else picked up on that. Now that being said,
I can't say that I really listened to a lot of the casting.
No, I heard it too. I know exactly what he was talking about.
It was really weird. It caught me out of nowhere because it wasn't just one guy. It was like Vedius talked about it during the end of after like all the games were done, and then the day after, Shox just talked to the guys on Fnatic about it specifically, and we're just like, yeah. So I just thought it was really odd. I think Fnatic is still elite in this league. Like they put Reckless back in. He played Karma, and they crushed. Like, so, who gives a shit about that? I just thought it was really interesting, and I think your point about, them being on the top with Splice is good. So, I just wanted to say that because I just needed to rant about that because I don't know what the fuck the EU casting was on during last week. Anyway.
It just sounds like they were trying to milk a story.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. They sounded like they were trying to force a storyline, and it was just, it was garbage. Anyway, go ahead.
I think the other thing is, the other thing about that game is, I will say, is I feel like Fnatic should have won that game anyway, but it's just that Broxa and Bwipo failed to like be the fail-safe they were supposed to be, right?
Well, I thought Bwipo almost was trolling on that Rengar pick. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you have a new guy like that, it's almost kind of disrespectful to the new guy to pick something like Rengar top. Like, this is Bwipo we're talking about. If I see Rengar top, he's either going to feed his ass off.
The worst game of his life.
That's true. So it was just kind of...
I'm pretty sure that he was dead before his team even turned around to like come to the fight most of the time.
Yeah, Hilly was like off in no man's land sometimes. It was a bad game for Fnatic, but a bad game does not make a team that like you have to freak the hell out of it. Anyway,
but I think there is like some certain like concern to say like, what the fuck, you're without one person and you suddenly like fell apart. It's not even like Reckless's core to the early to mid game, you know,
right?
Like,
I guess it's
right?
fair. It's like, but like then that should have been the storyline. Like, why does plucking this one guy out turn you guys into like a bubbling pile of, you know, dog shit? Like why does that happen? Not the storyline of, you guys were at Worlds last year.
Yeah,
why do you suck so bad now? Like,
the other thing about that is the argument of them being at Worlds last year is null and void. They lost their best player.
True, yeah.
From that point.
pretty much. So,
all right. Anyway, Fnatic.
As Captain Flowers once said, they've been looking pretty shitty since they done lost caps.
Yes,
that's fair.
That's like my favorite line from that rap, by the way. That he did. Oh, it's such a great line.
Just remembering the rap now is great, and content wise, we get to look forward still to the commercial from EU.
Oh yes. Tanner might cringe from this, but I actually have that rap on my gym playlist.
I mean, that's fine, man. I got plenty of meme shit on my phone. I can't say that I don't. So
I just love Captain Flower's flow. I think it's really good.
It's fair.
It might become like super irrelevant to me eventually, and I'll take it off. But anyways, to transition into something I did want to talk about. I wanted to talk about OG versus Vitality. This sort of summarizes the direction I think Vitality is going in, which is a positive direction, and the direction I think we've been talking about how Origin's been going since spring, which is down, right? First of all, this was old Vitality that I saw in this game. Jizuke
looks like Jizuke again.
Oh yeah,
so nice.
Oh yeah, it was so much fun to watch. I actually forgot how much I really enjoyed Jizuke being a good mid laner. I mean, like, I've never been like a Jizuke fan, but I forgot how much fun it is to watch when he's actually on his game, and like how daring he is and how much BS he actually gets away with. But like the quirky plays he made and like always escaping with like 1 HP, or like when he accidentally went 1v3, like even Vedius said it looked like it wasn't on purpose, but he accidentally walked, blind into a 1v3 and he traded 1-for-1 out of it. That's incredible, right? So, whenever we've always made the meme, whenever Jizuke pops off, Vitality pops off. But like, if Jizuke can keep up this kind of performance, keep in mind Vitality has been 4-2 since their 0-4 start. That's pretty good, right? That's a great way to look at it. And even if they only go 1-1 this next week, 5-3 is still a really good start compared to their 0-4.
Ever since MSI.
So I think it's pretty nice, and considering how they're tied for 6th, they got a legitimate shot at playoffs and just try and make some noise. And beating an opponent like Origin is pretty nice. Now for Origin, man, I'm gonna say it. Cold looks bad this split. I think a large part of Origin doing really well last year was the surprise of Cold doing really well. Mm-hmm. You expect Nuke Duck and Alfari to do well, and they even did well in this game as well. Like Alfari owned Cabashard. I'm going to say it. He owned Cabashard. And despite the fact Jizuke popped off, it wasn't because he beat Nuke Duck in lane. It's because Jizuke was being the team fight monster that he is. But Nuke Duck...
And they finally have started split pushing Jizuke again.
That's
when they were successful last split. And really, I guess, since this roster's been put together, is Jizuke in the side lane with a mage just taking attention away from the rest of the team or taking turrets.
Yeah, I agree. But like, Cold looked awful this game. The lack of jungle presence, the amount of times he kept dying, and I just want to say I understand Silas is OP, but I don't see actually a point in picking Silas into this comp because I see a Jarvan ult and that's it. Corky's ult, meh. Draven's ult, meh. Especially because you're an AP champion. Mordekaiser's art ult, well, that might be good, but are you gonna beat whoever you're gonna 1v1? Mordekaiser's designed to beat whoever he's gonna beat in his ult. Silas is not. Now Silas is a good 1v1 champion, I agree, but he can get outplayed. We saw Jizugate outplay 1v3 a friggin' Rise, Ezreal, and Silas. That's insane. So I don't like the Silas pick into this comp simply because I don't think the ultimates are worth stealing in this comp. That's the only bad thing about Silas is he's reliant on how good are your enemy ultimates. Now, ultimates in League of Legends are usually pretty good in general, but some ultimates like Draven's, like Corky's, like Mordekaiser's are designed for those champions specifically and are not universally great. So I don't blame the team for picking Silas. I just don't think it was used very well by Cold, and I wish I'd seen a different pick from him, like Sejuani. I was Sejuani banned. I need to look that up real quickly before I just judge him for not picking Sejuani. So Sejuani was not banned. Yeah, I think Sejuani would have been better in this case, honestly. And it would have fulfilled having an actual tank in this comp as well. You got the scaling in Rise and Ezreal. You have the brawler damage in Gnar, and then you have your full utility by Tom Kench with 2 health bars because of his gray health. And then you have an engage with Sejuani. I think this actually would have been a perfect time for Sejuani to be, but that's not what they chose. So lack of drafting and lack of jungle presence is killing Origin right now, is what I'll say.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Cold has definitely not looked like he did in the previous split, and I would agree that is a big reason why they looked as successful as they did. You can compare it to some teams that we've talked about in other regions, here in a, it's escaping me, but I feel like right now there's a Wiggly, right? Wiggly's playing out of his mind, way better than we've ever seen him play, and look at how successful CLG is. But when Wiggly was not playing as good as he is this split, CLG was a bottom feeder, right?
That was also rookie split, so
yeah, but the point
improve.
stands, right?
Yeah.
The jungler is a very important piece to a League of Legends team. They are the one champion that will be all over the map at any.
The jungler coin flip.
Oh God, we're going back to that. Please no. But anyway, so yeah, when a jungler is, I don't know, these junglers are the type of people. And Double If was talking about Bjergsen's floor and ceiling being this far apart. Well, these junglers, their floor and ceiling are way far apart, and so we're getting to see a time where they're closer to the ceiling that's a lot higher than when, I guess, the more normal ceiling for them, which is a lot lower.
Yeah. What do you think about Origin, Tanner?
Yeah, this entire season I haven't been as impressed with Origin, and I'll say for the most part I haven't been super impressed with Vitality either. I don't think any of us really have, but I think this week was definitely a good showing from them. Obviously they didn't win both of their games this week, but I did like the look that we got from Vitality. It's just one of those things where do they continue playing like that? Do they keep, obviously Jizuke got what I would argue is the best mid laner, or mid lane champion, I should say, in the game, at least for the current patch that they were on, and that was Corky. And he was just kind of enabled to go off and do all these insane things because Corky's pretty damn insane right now. But hopefully they do kind of pick this up, because the fact that he was allowed by his team to try to become this kind of 1v9 kind of champion is where Jizuke needs to be in order to thrive. So I liked that kind of look out of them. But yeah, I agree. Origin is really not what we saw last season. And I do think, like you said, it does boil down to the jungle. I think the other thing to kind of keep in mind for Origin is just, again, we do like to think of, their season last split, I should say, and how well they did there. And it's hard to say. Part of me kind of thinks the pressure might have gotten to them a little bit because now that they're coming into this season, everybody had super high expectations and whatnot. And it just fell absolutely flat. But I do agree. The jungler, I think, is the main problem for me because, I really don't have too much more to add. The Wiggly comparison was really good. But yeah, not super impressed with Origin for sure.
Okay, so last thing I do want to mention is despite the fact that Vitality is 4-2 in their last 6 games, their 2 losses being to Schalke, yikes, and then to Fnatic, which isn't that big of a yikes. That's expected. I guess technically Vitality's below the standings at Schalke, but it was just last week, so it's pretty recent. And I also did credit for Schalke. Things can go 2 ways, right? I can credit Schalke for a win, but I can also, harp on Vitality for a loss. The bot lane didn't do great in this win versus Origin. I think a large part of it was Jizuke carrying the load. So that's still a problem that cannot be ignored. Because we criticized in the past, that Attila and Jack Trolls just don't look as good as they used to. They still don't. Not even in this game that they won. They don't. Not even in this Rise have they looked as good. That's
in that game. I think Attila didn't he even get one of his favorite champions? Isn't that game where he played Draven? So
yeah, they played Draven Fiddlesticks bot lane, which is not uncommon from Vitality. They like to play that weird kind of shit, but
Draven is a champion that Attila was known for, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna. They just did okay. It's not like they fed or anything, but Patrick still did pretty well. Mithy was still not that bad. I just, I want to see them have more win conditions than just Jizuke winning the game for them. That'd be kind of nice. Cabochard did great, but Cabochard's always been a rock. He's never really been a hyper carry for a team. He's just always been a rock, and that's fine to have a rock if you have a couple other win conditions, right? But they only have one. I think a great metaphor would be Team Liquid with Impact for years. I've never considered Impact a hyper carry. He does have his pop off games where he takes over the game, literal 1v9. Double Lift could be inting in Impact's 1v9ing the game, and Liquid's gonna win the game because of Impact. But for the most part, he's just a solid rock, right? It's going to generally win his lane. It's not going to totally impact the game, but he won his lane. You're not at a deficit up there. And you got Jensen in the mid lane, or Poe Welter back then. Xmithy to maybe hardcore carry some games in the jungle. Or you got, of course, Double Lift when it was Double Lift Ole, but now Double Lift Core JJ. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is not necessarily Team Liquid, but if you're going to have a player be your rock, that's fine. You need more than one win condition, though. And with Vitality only having one, I'm well, they're 4-2 in the last 6 games. It's great. Deep dive into it, it doesn't look that great, especially when you consider playoffs. So,
I'll also throw in that this team, we, at least on this show, we had a lot of hype for Mowgli coming in, and I don't think that he's necessarily lived up to the hype that we gave him.
Oh, he doesn't live up to the hype I gave him. I hyped him up. Let's be real. I hyped him.
All right, fair enough. I was trying to, not put all of it on you.
No, blame me. I hyped
but still, with that being said, they obviously saw something in him as well, but he definitely is who was the person who came in and essentially saved them last split.
Oh, Kikis.
Yeah, he's not Kikis for them.
Kikis was on this team, I bet you they'd still be pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. And maybe Attila and Jack Troll wouldn't look as bad because I bet Kikis had a lot to do with that. Yeah, I haven't been overly impressed with Mowgli, so I don't know if it's just because it's kind of his, at least in in LEC, it's his rookie split, right? He hasn't been here before. He has played pro before, but he hasn't played in LEC before. And so hopefully, we'll see him improve as he stays in the region. But I think that you can also point to him as a little bit of the downfall for Vitality this split as well. I don't know if you had more to go over with LEC, but I think that we should at least throw out Misfits this week. Actually
Yeah, that's
looked
fair.
good.
Yeah, they look decent.
And they had nobody from their starting roster playing for them. That is sad. Like, for the people that call themselves the starters of that team, which there are some big names, the fact that your entire backup squad comes in and looks like 10 times better than you have all split says something. Like, I don't know what's going on, if it's the players, if it's a mentality thing, if it's an organizational thing that the players, like, aren't serious because the organization isn't serious. But at least these backup players came in, looked like they had something to prove, and played like it. And they were able to take a win from a team that, honestly, I don't know if the starters would have been able to do the same. Like,
You might hate me for this. Can I tell you one reason I thought Misfits did well in this game?
why?
They had Kiana. Like I don't want to like downtrodden like how well this roster like won this
I thought
game.
they even looked good in the Splice game, though. So,
Which they did fine, right? Like I don't think they were terrible or anything, but I looked at you look at their comp, which is Sona, Tom Kench, Kiana, Elise, Jax, and then the opposing one that Rogue has is Aatrox, Silas, Corky, Caitlyn, Lux. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna give it to the comp that's got Sona and Kiana. Like, duh.
Well, true. I mean, it's a good comp, but it also like you got to give them credit for actually executing it. Because like even if the regular team had been given that same comp, I can't say with like. I could say yes on paper. This is the better comp. You couldn't say with the
utmost confidence they are going to do it.
Right. I mean, and I wouldn't say it about this version either, but they did. So there's got to be something said for that.
Even looking at their loss, though, like they played Splice, who we have now, I kind of think, placed in that third place slot, right? Like, I think all of us are on board with that now. I know I was hesitant to say it last week, but I think that I'm there now. And they gave Splice a run for their money. Like, this team in their very first week on stage against the other, pro teams in the LEC looked really good. Now, like with everything, you have to take it with a grain of salt because there's probably not a lot of film to study on this team unless you're looking at whatever the academy is for LEC. And then it's against, lesser competition, so you may still not be getting that much out of it. So now that there's a weekend of games against, actual professional teams, people can actually look at it, analyze it, and who knows, maybe next week if the same lineup plays for them, which I expect it will, maybe they get their shit kicked, but at least in this week, I was very impressed with what I saw from a backup squad for Misfits.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. Misfits plays Fnatic, and, they're going to get their shit kicked in.
Probably. Yeah.
But they do play Excel.
I don't know. Is Fnatic playing their Nemesis bot lane shit again?
I think I'd still take that again. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, we all took that again or last week in our picks, but it's Rogue ended up beating them.
I'm calling it a mistake. Okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. If we're done, I think we could probably pick the games.
I said what I said on EU, but if either of you got anything else,
no, I'm good. We can go to picks.
All right, awesome, sounds good. So the first game for this Friday for EU is going to be Schalke versus SK. For like as much like as like SK seems to look good and then bad. I mean, they're 3-7, but records aside, like if the eye test, they never look like the worst team in the world. They just always look outclassed. And I think that's probably what's going to happen here with Schalke. Abadage better not fuck me over here. I'm picking Schalke.
Yeah, I would also pick Schalke here. I was pleasantly surprised by Schalke this season, and especially last weekend they had a really good showing. Abadage did pop off really hard on that Aatrox, and it's weird. It's weird to say how good it looked, but it looked good. And against an SK squad that's had its struggles, it's got to be Schalke.
It looks like Schalke has gotten it figured out, and for that, I'm gonna pick them as well. SK is sitting at the bottom of the standings for a reason. Schalke, like I said, I feel like they have a game plan now that they've got Abadage on the right champions. They have the rest of the team working well around him. I think that there's enough picks in each of the positions that the players know that you can't necessarily ban out the strategy. It's whether or not you can handle the strategy with what you pick instead. And SK, the only player that I really have a lot of faith in is the jungler, and that's not enough for me to say that they're going to lose to SK. So,
the other thing I will say is I do like having Trick as the jungler as well over Memento when
for
he was on
Schalke.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like that's been an upgrade for them.
Yep.
Tanner?
Oh, I already... Yeah, Schalke.
Okay, cool. Wait, did you make your pick?
Yeah, he picked before I did.
Moving on. Because I don't remember that. Tanner, you go
You
first.
blacked out there.
XL is not good, so Rogue will win the game. And it pains me to say that. XL is not a good team.
Quality analysis.
Like,
I honestly don't think
if I dive any deeper into it and analyzing XL, I just get more and more depressed. So we'll move on. 'Cause
I honestly don't think it needs much more analysis, though. I'm also picking Rogue. I assume you are as well, Sanders.
Yeah, I'm picking Rogue. Okay.
I also assume that the next one is a sweep.
Okay, so we're all sweeping Fnatic versus Misfits. Let's move on. I don't think
That's not what I have on my sheet, but that's okay.
yeah, no, I mean, I agree too. I don't think Misfits is gonna.
Yeah. The third matchup is Fnatic versus Misfits. The fourth matchup is Vitality versus Splice. I would say this is like potentially a tough one, but I really like Kobe and North Scarin. Don't really like Attila and Jack Troll, so they automatically have a 2-man advantage. And despite the fact that like Humanoid, like I think has been steadily improving. Actually, Humanoid, the one weakness on this team, I think has been doing pretty good. I don't know. It depends. Like, does Juzuke outplay Humanoid? I don't know. And even if he does, like, they still have to deal with the detriment in bot lane that Kobe and North Scarin are going to create. So, honestly,
Don't forget about the jungle discrepancy too.
I feel like it's a dead given to Splice. Oh, between Mowgli and Xerxes? Yeah.
I think Xerxes having a pretty good split.
I think it's a dead giveaway to Splice, but that's my opinion.
Statistically, Splice should win this game, hands down. But the one caveat is Vitality is an extreme. When they're successful, it's because of an early game advantage that they typically get, and they're really good if they get that early game lead, which that's like the only time that I would, if I knew that Vitality had an early game advantage, like sub 6 minutes, somebody gets a kill, or like a double kill bot lane or something like that, then I would say Vitality would have my vote. But since you can't guarantee that that's going to be the case, in fact, their aggression sometimes makes the exact opposite happen, where Attila and Jack Troll might die in the bot lane sub 6 minutes, especially against a good bot lane such as Kobe. Then like I said, it's just overwhelmingly in Splice's favor.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Okay,
agree.
and so I want to tell everyone. Thank you, Tanner, for saying that. I want to tell everyone that new listening to our show, we have a rule for LEC here. We're not picking against G2 unless told otherwise. So G2 is going to beat Origin.
Really, the only exception is if they're playing Fnatic, and
even then, we all picked G2 last time.
Yeah.
So
There's no
which
reason to
did
pick
not
against
work
them,
well for
honestly.
us. So.
Yeah, so that's the rule we have. So and then we have the same rule for Team Liquid. So anytime a Team Liquid matchup comes up or a G2 matchup comes up, don't expect us to say much because, if you have any sort of brain whatsoever, you would know Liquid and G2 are the best teams in their region. And honestly, I think if they ever lose games, it's out of boredom. I think G2 has a lot more fun than Liquid does, but you can tell Liquid looks bored sometimes. And that might be the reason they lose. They get a little lackadaisical and then they get behind and they're like, oh shit, we're actually really behind. And then if they can't get the miracle play, they lose the game. It's typically how I actually view Liquid's losses, because when they go in when Liquid goes in the playoffs, it's game time and they don't lose. So they're 3-time repeats. What can I say?
Yeah.
Moving on to we do have G2 beating Origin the next day. Vitality versus Rogue. This is actually a very good matchup and one that I'm going to give to Vitality. I do like Rogue's improvement. I really like Inspired in the jungle, actually. Not that he's been inspiring in the jungle or anything like that, but me, I'm so funny, right? No, but for real though, I think, I expected Rogue to take some bigger strides at the beginning of the split than they have, being at 4-6. But certainly they're not the 10th place team, right? That's what I expected from them. I really liked Larson in the mid lane. I really hope he gets rookie of the split. I've loved the way Larson's been playing. The question with Rogue though is who is their bot lane? Is it Woline Vander or Hikyu Vander? I think no matter what, you're kind of screwed, and no matter what, you're gonna have a bad bot lane. So luckily they're playing against Rogues, another bad bot lane. So
You mean Vitalities?
Sorry, look, I meant luckily Rogue is playing against another bad bot lane in Vitalities. Yes, thank you. With Attila and Jack Troll. So I guess that matchup's a toss up. And while I'd love to give it to Larson, I think if Jizuke continues being a madman, it doesn't matter that Larson deserves rookie of the split. Jizuke is a madman. It's just awesome. So I trust Cabashar to give it to Finn. So I based upon solo laners here, I actually pick Vitality.
I really want to pick Rogue. I mean, last weekend they beat Fnatic. However, they turned around the next day and then lost to the backup lineup of Misfits. So, with the wild inconsistency that they showed just last week alone,
put an asterisk next to that Fnatic win as well.
Well, right, yeah. and Fnatic was playing with a backup or with a a different lineup that they'd never played with before. So, I kind of keep forgetting that. I'm not gonna lie. Either way, though, the wild inconsistency that I saw from them in just last weekend, and even though Vitality hasn't been that much greater at consistency this split, I also have to give the advantage to Vitality.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the same boat on that, and I think it mainly just comes from the fact that Rogue did not look convincing at all and lost to a full rookie squad on their second game. So, I think Vitality. I don't think momentum really is too much of a thing in this kind of league, but I think Vitality's probably going to take this.
I would
Plus,
agree.
looking at it, out of the 5 weeks that they've played so far, only one week has Rogue not gone 1-1.
That's kind of funny.
Week 3, they lost both of their games. Otherwise, they have, and that's when they played G2 and Splice. Otherwise, they went 1-1. So.
Let's not start the 1-1 memes, please.
We have to.
No.
I miss them, Sanders. I'm sorry.
I know you do, but Rush doesn't exist anymore.
Rush's team doesn't exist.
Yeah. Oh shit, we'll get there eventually. The next one is
Phoenix One is coming back.
The next so the next matchup is actually Excel versus Misfits. Wait till we get there. You know what, Celceus, you take this one first.
All right. Sorry, which matchup did you say it was?
Because Misfits.
Okay, because the order that I have written down is different from the order that you have, apparently.
I was going for LoL Esports for this
I get my matchups off of the LoLpedia site, so they must start getting different towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think LoLpedia is the site to go to, but when it comes to schedule, I would expect LoL Esports to actually have their shit
You would hope, yeah.
At least for that, you would hope.
All right, this is dumb, but I'm picking Excel. I don't know why. I really think that this is a toss-up. I fully expect Misfits to have their backup lineup in. And even though I just went on about how impressive they were in the first week that they played, I think that it is more likely for a team to come in without anybody knowing anything about any of the players and looking good than it is for them to have a couple games under their belt and look as good as they did in week one. And even though Excel has been just awful, they have been in the league now for 2 splits. For the most part, well, at least they have some players that are the same. I don't know how many roster changes they've made, to be completely honest, but I guess I really like consistency. Well, not consistency, that's the wrong word. I like longevity over rookie. And so
Yeah, because I was going to say the only thing that Excel's been consistently is consistently bad. Excel has not looked promising in any
That's an oof
stretch.
from an XL fan.
Yeah, they have not. Well, yeah, like, and that's getting harder by the day. They have not looked promising at any stretch of time, like throughout the entire season, even their win. Like, I was kind of still unconvinced by the XL. Last
I
weekend,
said it was dumb.
Misfits looked good. They looked convincing. I was like, hey, that looked
dumb.
pretty good. Yeah, I know. So it is dumb because Misfits is going to win. So there's my take on that. Like, regardless of which roster plays, Misfits wins.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this, right? I personally thought we were gonna sweep for Excel. Apparently not, because Tanner's going for Misfits.
I don't know why you were thinking that. I would have thought more that we were sleeping for Misfits.
No,
I thought I was being like way out of the box with
no, because I was actually gonna pick Excel as well. So, big thing
Tanner,
here.
you're welcome for the free point.
So here's the big thing here. Actually, I'm reviewing like both rosters, you know, to make sure like looking at starting is, and they did change to Mickey in the mid lane. To be quite honest with you, I have no faith in either of these squads. Looking at the rosters, and if you would like to know one thing, there are 2 veterans on the Misfits Academy squad. So if you want consistency, you could definitely go for that. Because remember, Kire was on Dignitas when Dignitas died.
I don't remember that, but I do remember when Dignitas died, and they were not good.
Oh yeah, they were terrible. No, Kire was the jungler who has the meme Rift Herald play. When he
take your word for it.
When he and Shifter both died to Rift Herald together.
I don't remember that.
Shifter was playing support and Kire was playing jungle. They both died to the Rift Herald. Fantastic. And then quickly flashes to the bot lane, and I think it was whoever the mid lane or for Dignitas, whoever the AD carry was, they both died to turret after diving. Neither of them got killed. They got the kill, but even though they got the kill, they both got executed. It was pretty memey. 4 players got executed within a matter of like 40 seconds. And nearly nothing was accomplished. It's one of the funniest plays in NA ever. So, Jerry was a part of that. Yep, back in 2016. Wonderful times. So, I think I'm going to give my final judgment and just pick Misfits.
You're changing your mind.
I didn't really say what I was going to do. I wanted to do Excel.
Okay.
And then Tanner was like, they're consistently bad. They're just terrible. I'm like, Tanner is not wrong at all. And because of that, I have to pick Misfits.
All right. Well, you're both welcome for a free point.
Who knows? Maybe Selceus here is the one who's the big brain and gets the free point.
Honestly, this is just kind of my upset pick, like that I'm making for EU this week, and EU has not worked out so well for the upset picks. Although I will say I still do sit on top of the standings for our overall picks. So
that is true.
So, are we sweeping the next 3 for the top 3 teams?
I would say yes.
G2, Fnatic, and Splice.
I'm gonna say I'm picking the top 3 seeds here.
I would agree.
The only one I'm thinking about is Origin because the last few times that Origin has played Fnatic, probably other than this split. Yeah, Fnatic did win that. But like going back to the playoffs last split,
That was a different. That was a different
Origin had
Origin.
Fnatic's number.
It was also a different Fnatic as well.
Origin doesn't look like that Origin right now, so I think I'm gonna pick the.
And the current Fnatic looks better than that Fnatic. So we're picking Splice to beat Schalke, GG to beat SK, and Fnatic to beat Origin. Sounds good to me. All right, so we're gonna move over to NA. Probably the one that, if you're viewing, probably you'd want more. But you know what? We enjoy both EU and NA. I think there's a lot to be said for both regions. I don't think I would pick one or the other. I love both regions. I have a love-hate relationship with both of them at times. If you were here last split at all, I hated NA. Fuck NA Fuck NA 2019 spring. That's all I gotta say. Terrible split. But this split though, it's pretty nice because we got a clear number one and a clear bottom with Team Liquid at 11-3 and Echo Fox eliminated from the playoffs at 3-11. Cloud9 is sitting tight with second with CLG at 9-5. Optic and TSM are tied for fourth at 8-6. And Guardians is tied with.
Although Optic does have that tiebreaker.
Yeah, and Guardians is tied with Clutch Gaming, 100 Thieves, and Golden Guardians at 6 and 8. And then, of course, in ninth place is FlyQuest. One quick thing I want to say, and I was going to let you guys take it over first. I have eliminated FlyQuest from playoff contention. I really don't think they're going to get above 100 Thieves, Clutch Gaming, or Golden Guardians for that sixth spot. Too little, too late. I don't think they've found a team identity at all. I feel like their identity is Santorin, Caps, Viper, while Paul Belter and Wild Turtle and Big handle them. Not Big.
Big.
Wadid. Wild Turtle and Wadid handle themselves, but that's not their game plan. Their game plan isn't to enhance their best mechanical player. I don't know why. I feel like that should be it. It's what Cloud9 did with Kumo, right? They knew that Kumo would struggle. They gave him help. He popped off. Why wouldn't you do that for Vibe? Anyway, so they haven't found their identity. They've lost their identity. They really just win team fights, and those are the only games they win. So I have eliminated them personally, even though
I would have to agree that there's 2 weeks left. Like
they'd have to go 4-0.
It's crazy that there's only 2 weeks left of NA because EU just hit the halfway point last week. But yeah, there's 2 weeks left. They're 2 games back from 6th place. A lot of stuff would have to happen in their favor, and they, like you said, would more than likely have to go 4-0, which is very unlikely considering their very first game this week is against C9. So yeah, I think that it is fair and safe to say that FlyQuest will not be in the playoffs.
Yeah, plus I think every other team above them right now that's tied for 6th has just looked so much better and so much more consistent than FlyQuest. I mean, and that's a crazy thing to say about Clutch Gaming, but
really, I think Golden Guardians out of those next.
Well, that's true. Guardians has been boring. Clutch has been unpredictable, and then 100 Thieves has just been good. So, you know, when you look at all those, I think that all 3 of those beat out, you know, the kind of just slugfest that FlyQuest has kind of put themselves through. So yeah, I would completely agree, but yeah, I think they're out.
I'm going to tell you this right now too. I have personally eliminated Golden Guardians. They started 4-0. They're 2-8 since then. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I would agree. Like I said, they've looked absolutely like it's been a snore fest watching them, and most times it's very hard for them to put up a fight against any of these, like, not even the top teams, you know, when they go across the same level of play to face, you know, teams like Clutch and 100 Thieves, although I would argue 100 Thieves is much higher than 6th would imply. They just can't. They just look, what's the word? I mean, it's weird to call them tired, but it does feel like there's a lot of just veteran talent on that team that just
is the right word anemic? Maybe. I mean, that would
might be the right word.
That would, because yeah, they just look so. it's just not exciting. It's just not exciting, and it doesn't. And it's
They've
a shame
never
too.
been an exciting team. I mean, any team that has Froggen on it is probably not going to be an exciting team. They are a team that's going to play the laning phase until 20 minutes because that's what they grew up doing. Like, that's what Froggen grew up doing, and he's really fucking good at it. And he's gonna leave lane with an advantage. Whether or not the rest of his team will, at least go even, or if he'll be able to translate that CS lead, because that's probably all that it's going to be. Somewhere else on the map is the question. And so far this split, the answer is not as often as
Yeah, not as often as you'd like.
Yeah, as they have done. So
plus the other thing too is FBI and Huhi just haven't really like clicked for this team at all. Like in their last games, I mean, I know this was against Team Liquid, but like they went a collective 2-12 against Team Liquid, and that's just their bot lane. Like that's the normal scoreline you would expect for the overall score of a Team Liquid game. But no, that was just their bot lane. So
I feel bad for Hanser.
Yeah, I agree. Add Hanser to the team of players that should be on, better teams. But I mean, even he's struggling just a little bit, and maybe that's just a side effect of being on that team. But yeah, they just don't look good either. So then I guess that does raise the question: should we? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about this, but has our opinion of who sneaks into the playoffs changed at all after?
Not at all. So other than the fact that I said Optic was going to drop out. Bad take, by the way.
Yeah, that was a real poor take.
that was a really bad take.
I was gonna say, when you said that, Leslie, I was like, "That's hot. That's a real hot one right there." I don't know if that's gonna.
Well, they went from a 4-0 start to 6-6. They were 2-6. What am I supposed to do, right?
I mean, that's fair, but like they've still even in the games that they were losing, they still looked better than like some of the teams that were below them. Like. When they were talking about FlyQuest and talking about how FlyQuest was getting unlucky to not win some of their games, that was bullshit. FlyQuest isn't good. But like when you talk about Optic and you want to say if they got unlucky in some of their games, I think you could make somewhat of an argument that Optic was close, just couldn't get there. So.
That's funny is so Freak today. When I was listening to the dive, he was talking about he's like, I feel really bad for FlyQuest, and Kobe was like, I do too, and then Mark was like, why? They suck. And then both. And then Kobe and Freak were like, because they're actually a really good team who got very unlucky. And then Mark was straight up like, no, they just suck.
Yeah, exactly. You could only do that for so long before the whole really unlucky idea.
Mark Z.
Yeah, he's great.
And then Freak were like, nah, dude, I think they're just having a bad split. Mark was like, no, they're just bad. Like if
they're having a bad split, that makes them bad. Like they can be bad in the context of the split. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, but like, when you judge an overall team.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So I think that's like what Freak or Kobe were getting at and like where I'm at. Whereas like Marks was just calling it as he sees it. He's like, nope, I see a team that has no win condition and this is just how they are.
Which is fair.
Now,
yeah, it totally
on
is.
the original point though of Golden Guardians be like writing them off, I don't know if I'm quite there yet.
Why?
I don't like them, and I hope that they don't make the playoffs for multiple reasons. One, I don't want to see them in the playoffs, but two, I also predicted them not to make the playoffs at the beginning of the split, so I'd like to be right.
That's fair. Can I give you Golden Guardians' next 3 matches?
So that's actually the reason why I haven't completely written them off.
Really?
They have to play both of the teams that they're competing directly against. 100
And they're
Thieves
probably going to lose
and
both,
Clutch. I think that they could beat Clutch.
That's
and
fair.
Honestly, it's not their 100 Thieves is definitely the favorite. But do I see in a best of one a way for Golden Guardians to beat 100 Thieves? Yes. Like if I was giving it percentages, I would say 75-25 for 100 Thieves. But you're still saying that there's a quarter of a chance.
Yeah, there's always a chance
that they can beat 100 Thieves. And honestly, if they beat one or both of those teams, then they're in. Like,
that's true, but I guess with shoes on the other foot, I just have to think that 100 Thieves is going to take care of business for the most part and punch their own split.
I don't remember if they beat them or not in the past. Go ahead while I look at that, Sanders.
I was going to say, here's something for both of you. I am not counting the first 2 weeks of LCS for either of these teams. Here's why. Golden Guardians bot lane in the first 2 weeks they went 4-0 doesn't exist anymore. The top lane that 100 Thieves and mid lane that they were working with doesn't exist anymore. The records both say 6-8, but really I view these teams as 2-8 and 6-4. That's when 100 Thieves split really started. That's when this roster started.
Like
right?
I get that. It's
So,
just
so when I look at if Golden Guardians is to face 100 Thieves, are you picking the 2-8 team or the 6-4 team?
No, but I get where Celceus is saying. It's just like there's always a chance for a better team to lose to a lower team. I mean, like Fnatic just lost to Rogue, even though obviously there was some asterisks there.
Asterisk there, yeah.
But and just a couple weeks ago, Golden Guardians
TL
themselves
lost
beat
to
Cloud9.
Echo Fox.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
didn't I already tell you that TL just seems bored? And then the shit where
That was
far
week
behind.
1. They should not have been bored in the first week.
Wait. They still have an excuse because they took a break from league for 3 weeks, and that was the first game they played together.
All in all, the point stands that there is a chance that the better team will lose.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I wanted to look back and see what the standings were between these 3 teams against one another earlier in the split. Clutch did beat Golden Guardians, so if Golden Guardians wins that game, they would have to play a tiebreaker if they ended the split with the same record. Golden Guardians though did beat 100 Thieves, so you can't write off the beginning of 100 Thieves split just because they look like a completely different team now. Those games can come back to haunt you.
Oh no, I write it off because I certainly believe that Guardians is going 6-12. That's the way I look at it.
I guess I'm not gonna guarantee that they're going 6-12 because I think the Golden Guardians has shown that there are games that they play, putting them on the right champions. They can look really good. Now, if I remember correctly, though, with Golden Guardians, didn't they just trade away Deathly?
No, they traded away Deathly to Cloud9, and they got Keith for it.
Yeah, so I can't remember. Was Deathly not playing for them, or will Keith have to play for them?
No. So Deathly was playing on the academy team, and they swapped 80 carries.
Right. So who is playing for them? I can't remember.
FBI.
Oh, okay, that's right.
So here's the way I view Guardians. They play 100 Thieves. I consider 100 Thieves to win that. They play Optic. They play Cloud9, and then they play Clutch. This is an 0-4 schedule, in my humble opinion, though.
I'm probably gonna pick it that way as well.
No,
but
I
I'm
agree,
not.
yeah,
I'm just saying that it is
there's a chance. There's definitely a chance. Yeah.
There's a world where 100 Thieves drops a game to Golden Guardians. Or Clutch is as much as they have looked better, they still are a very inconsistent team. And one thing that you can say about Golden Guardians, even if it's not that that they're consistently great, they are consistent. And so sometimes consistency does beat inconsistency, even if the talent level is better on the inconsistent team.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right.
I do want to say there are never 0-win situations unless it's like G2 versus Excel. It's maybe the one time I'll give you a 0% for a team, but there's always a chance. There's always, even if it's a 99-1. There's always a chance for teams to do something. So despite the fact it looks like a 0-4 schedule for Golden Guardians, there's always a chance for them to go 1-3, 2-2.
I sure hope though that they don't make playoffs because
they're so boring.
What we said at the beginning about them being very unfun to watch and boring is very true. So the less we have to watch them play, the better.
All right. So this leads perfectly into the question I was going to ask you guys for NA. Who is your 6th place team right now? Why are they your 6th place team? And will they make any noise in the playoffs if they do make it? We'll start with Tanner, actually.
Okay, so do you want 6th place team as in the ranking, the team that will achieve 6th place at the end of the season?
Yep.
So for me, that team, is it really? Is it TSM? It is TSM. I think it is TSM.
Wait, no.
What? The team that gets sixth place?
No. First of all, TSM's 2 games ahead. A, there's no way they get 6th place. B, we're talking about the 6 and 8 teams who are tied for 6th, because those are probably the teams that will get 6th.
I actually want to hear what he says about
Well,
TSM.
okay, because here's the thing, though.
Shut up, Sanders.
Like, wait. So hold on. But you're asking me what team do I think? Actually, hold on. Scratch everything I just said. I'm looking at TSM's schedule right now. They play Echo Fox and FlyQuest. TSM is not getting 6th place. So my mistake on that. If I had to power rank them, TSM is my 6th, but they're not going to physically get 6th. So in that case, I think it does go to 100 Thieves, because I just think they're the better team out of those 3. I think that they have probably the more.
Well, right now it looks like 2 of them, right? No.
There's 3
Oh,
total
right.
teams,
You
yeah.
got to pick one. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you got to pick.
I think they have
thought
the
2 of
most
those teams are going to make.
forgiving schedule out of all of the teams as well. They have to play Golden Guardians, which I would fully expect them to win. They're playing against TSM, who I would also kind of expect them to win that game against TSM, because TSM hasn't looked perfect, and against their game against Optic kind of says that. Then they have Clutch, which I think they are supposed to win that game as well. And then they finish off the season against CLG, which will be a barn burner and a close game, but ultimately a game that won't matter because they've already won the 3 that they needed to. So I think it definitely goes to 100 Thieves plus. There's too many. I think Golden Guardians loses most of the rest of their games. And then CLG has way too many question marks throughout the season. They got to play against CLG. They do have a free win against FlyQuest, although I wouldn't even call it a free win because, I mean, Clutch, again, bounces up and down sometimes. Then they got to play 100 Thieves, who I think they will lose to. And then they also got to play against Golden Guardians, which they'll win. But that's only 2 wins, and I think overall, if I had to guess, I'm no psychic or anything like that. But 100 Thieves looks the best. They deserve to be the 6th place team. I said that the same thing about Echo Fox last year. They deserved to be the 6th place team. Boy, was I wrong. But hopefully that does work out for them. There's not a lot of math that goes along behind this, but I think they're the best team out of all of those teams.
Okay, so your matchup is 100. So if Thieves is going to be 6th place, right?
Right.
Your matchup is 100 Thieves versus Cloud9 or CLG. Do they make any noise?
100 Thieves versus Cloud9 or CLG, do they make noise? Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a series. They have an actual series. They don't go fizzle out 3-0. I think we haven't seen this 100 Thieves in a best of in general kind of format, which I would like to see them in, because I think they do have some potential to make a splash. But I think personally, regardless of the team they go up against, either CLG or Cloud9, I think
Cloud9
lose.
Oh, okay.
But do they at least make some noise? Do they bring it to a 5 game?
Oh, yeah. I think it's probably either a 3-1 or a 3-2. They definitely don't go out without, it's going to be a good series, and it's going to be one of those series where you would have expected this.
Tanner. They'll go out with a bang.
Yeah. No, but this should be farther. This should be deeper into the playoffs than it actually is going to be, and that's going to be unfortunate. But because I think 100 Thieves against Optic, there's a chance. Against TSM, there's a chance. But the fact that they have to play CLG or Cloud9 would make that kind of tough for them.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry,
So,
I was there for a second because Celceus' reactions totally got me. But I think you make some pretty good points. What do you think, Celceus?
So when we kind of debated this in a different way, a week or 2 ago, I thought Clutch. But I think that I've got to change my mind to 100 Thieves as well. I will say this. I absolutely love that these 3 teams are the ones that are having to fight it out for 6th place, because they all play each other these last 2 weeks.
Every single game has high stakes.
Golden Guardians plays 100 Thieves. Then Clutch plays 100 Thieves the next week, and then Golden Guardians plays Clutch. So it's literally a round robin, and those games are going to mean so much more than they would have if it wasn't the scenario we're in now. Kind of just looking at the schedule like Tanner, I got to think that 100 Thieves beats Golden Guardians. I think that there's a chance that 100 Thieves beats TSM with the way TSM has looked. Although I don't think, maybe it's the fanboy, but I don't think it's as easy as Tanner was making it sound. Like, I do think that that's going to be a hard game for 100 Thieves.
For sure.
Because even though they have looked good, don't forget that they have lost to, like, the good, talented teams. Like, they did lose to Cloud9.
That might say more about what I think about TSM right now than like.
Right. And honestly, it's fair. Like,
Yeah.
they have not looked
Well,
like the TSM of last split at all.
Just so you both know, we'll get to TSM and Cloud9 next week. I want a big segment on them next week. I already know what we're going to talk about, and this weekend's games will probably emphasize the points I want to make on TSM and Cloud9. Yeah. But let's save them for next week because I got a big segment for them.
Ultimately, I think that it comes down to the first week or the first day of week 9, where Clutch and 100 Thieves have to play each other. Whoever wins that game is going to be the 6th place team. I almost guarantee it. Because they both have to play CLG, and I think that CLG is a better team than both of them, obviously, so I would count that as a loss for both of them. I think that they both have easy games. In Clutch has FlyQuest and Golden Guardians, and 100 Thieves has Golden Guardians, which, again, I just said that it is possible that Golden Guardians wins one of those games or both of those games, but I definitely have 100 Thieves and Clutch as the favorites in those games. Yeah, I just like what I see from 100 Thieves more schedule-wise, matchup-wise. I guess that I still give the edge to Clutch, but that's only if they can beat 100 Thieves. Like, the way I see it is that 100 Thieves is going to win Golden Guardians. They're going to win Clutch. I'll probably pick TSM to beat 100 Thieves. I'll probably pick CLG to beat 100 Thieves. So that's 2-2. Clutch is going to lose to CLG. They're going to beat FlyQuest. They're going to lose to 100 Thieves. And they are going to beat Golden Guardians. That's 2-2. But the head-to-head, 100 Thieves was the pick for that. So I've got to pick 100 Thieves as my 6th place team.
Cool. Do you think they'd make any noise against CLG or Cloud9?
I think they'd win a game. So if you consider that making noise, yes. But if it's only a game, I guess I don't necessarily consider that making noise.
Cool. So I got 100 Thieves in for the exact same reasons you do. Hot take: if they beat CLG, they're gonna get 3-0'd. If they go against Cloud9, they'll beat Cloud9 3-2. Super hot take. But let me explain.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Let me explain this one to you.
I think that's reasonable though.
So they're 1-1 versus Cloud9. So it's not. I don't think it's ridiculous to think that they at least can't go 2-2 with Cloud9. Maybe Cloud9 was that 5th game, but I'm betting 100 Thieves. That's just why. Amazing has been doing very well in the jungle. And that's been Scared as my MVP of the split, and he's been the best jungler in NA. True. But I don't want to take away what Ryu has done for this in the mid lane.
Ryu's had a renaissance, dude.
And I certainly think he could take on Niski. And Fake God, honestly, just needs to not int to Licorice at all. Like, honestly, I still think Licorice is like the best top laner, despite him being sick and whatnot. But he just needs to not int. And I'm sorry, but Cloud9's bot lane has been and Bang and Afromu have been on fire. To me, it comes down to the bot lane matchup for that, and I'm picking Bang and Afromu over Sneaky and Zazal in a best of 5 as of right now. Now, Sneaky and Zazal could totally go boom the next 4 games, and maybe that would change my mind. But if this was happening right now, I'm picking 100 Thieves versus Cloud9. This isn't underrating Cloud9 at all, because it would be so typical Cloud9. They'd lose to 100 Thieves, and then they'd go through the gauntlet, and then Cloud9 would storm the gauntlet, and then make Worlds anyway. So, whatever.
I'll just throw out there, by the way, that when 100 Thieves beat C9, they were playing Blabber.
That is very true. But what also stood out to that game for me, though, was like how much Sneaky and Zazal got decimated. That's what really stood out to me. But I just don't trust that bot lane in a best of 5 right now. If it was against CLG though, I actually think CLG is just a better team in every way than 100 Thieves is. Maybe it would be 3-1, but again, hot take. I think CLG would 3-0 them. 6A and Biofrost, I think are just like the second best bot lane in NA right now. Rune is fantastic. Wiggly's been fantastic. I think he can match up with Amazing Law, and PoE would just no, I think PoE and Ryu would be a big stalemate, and that plays in Power of Evil's favor because that's the kind of lane he likes. If it's a stalemate, he's a heavy team fight impactor, or he has a heavy impact on team fights. So, yeah,
I definitely still think that it's hot take though.
Oh yeah, sure, for sure. I know it's a hot take, but I certainly think 100 Thieves can make some noise. Even if Cloud9 wins that, I think it's a 5-game series no matter what. Who wins that?
That's fair.
Actually, so probably when the Cloud9 pulls off because they're the better team. But hey, I said hot take for a reason. So yeah, I guess we all agree that 100 Thieves is probably going to finish 6th place, or probably I'm assuming it'll be 6 because I don't see Optic and TSM not winning at least 2 more games.
Especially if you're looking at their roster or the rest of their schedule.
Yeah. Okay. So second question for you guys. I think it's kind of a given. No, there's always chances for everyone, but Team Liquid just feels like they're outclassing everyone. It's what it felt like last split. Felt like that the split before. And even even the last split was much harder for Team Liquid because they had to reverse sweep. They still decimated in the semifinals against FlyQuest. So they just outclass everyone right now. I do have a legitimate question. Who is a team that could actually beat them? Or is there not one?
I honestly don't think there is one because last split TSM was the team that it took for them to have to reverse sweep, and I honestly don't think that anybody looks like TSM did for the second half of last split. Like, there's nothing that gives me reason to pause that TL is going to repeat again.
First time for Pete? What do you think, Tanner?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'd love the 4-Pete, I honestly can't say that in their current states, any of these teams look like a horrible threat. Like, as a TL fan, I'm kind of, I'm not too worried about that.
Chilling.
Yeah. Again, there's a high possibility, like we talked about earlier in the show, where a team could get hot. Team could just, roll through a couple games and just hit an incredible hot streak and bring something to Liquid that they don't expect, and that's perfectly possible. But in their current currently the way that each of these teams are built and how they seem to be stacking up, none of them really look like they could take it to Liquid.
Are there any patches before playoffs?
There's gonna be one more. We can certainly go over that before the playoffs.
So I would say that maybe a patch change would change my mind a little bit. Otherwise, I think that it would just be a very TL having a very bad series at some point throughout the playoffs.
Yeah. So I'm going to point out one team to you guys, and I thought heavily and long and hard about them when I was at the gym today, and eventually I said, no, it's not going to happen, but I'd give them a shot anyway, and I think CLG has a shot at actually taking Liquid's title. I don't think it'll happen. I think that the series would be a 3-1 in favor of Liquid's, and it would be very dominant fashion. But here's why. The same reason I think they could is also the same reason I don't think they will. Look at CLG's best strength. It's in the bot lane, right? Their bot lane's been pretty damn good. It's the second best bot lane in NA, I think, affirmatively. I don't think any bot lane's been better than besides Team Liquid's. When you look at Wiggly, I think outside of my MVP's Vince Garen, I think Wiggly's done an amazing job. I mean, Amazing's up there and Nick Smithy's up there, but Wiggly is right up there as well. You have Ruin, who's one of the most diverse players right now, who's a solid rock for them, and Power of Evil's been great. But here's the problem with all that. What's Team Liquid's best strength? Oh, right, it's the bot lane. So that's taken away from CLG. Oh, wait, CLG has a rock in top lane. So does Team Liquid with Impact. And then I'm talking about how good Wiggly is at jungle, but let's not forget about Xmithy here at all. And then it's like, well, Jensen's still in the mid lane, right? I'm picking Jensen to beat Power of Evil. So honestly, CLG is just Team Liquid light. Like that's kind of how I see it. Is they're just Team Liquid light. So like, sure, a team like Team Liquid can beat Team Liquid, but if you're just Team Liquid light, you're more than likely going to lose. So I don't technically think a team is going to beat them. I'm with you guys on that. But if there is a team, I would make a case for CLG. I think it's very unlikely. It's like an 80-20 chance. So 80 in favor of Liquid, 20 in favor of CLG. But they have a style and a chance to do it. I think they would have to pull something out where Ruin would do something a little bit nuts, maybe even Power of Evil. And Styx and Biofrost would have to be on fucking fire, beating Double Lifting Core JJ. But I doubt all three of those things come together at once. But I've been proven wrong. The one thing I will say that I think CLG is better at than Team Liquid is drafting. I think CLG's drafting has been awesome. They've always managed to put in some manageable things for them. Even when they get counterpicked, they're usually in pretty fine spots. So, I mean, congrats to Weldon on actually being a good coach.
Well, so
doing that. So
everybody gives Weldon the credit. He is like there is another person up on stage with him.
Of course.
Everybody has to remember that. And honestly, I believe, and I think it may even be stated out there in the public, but like the other coach is the one who actually is more of the strategy like guy. Weldon still is more of the like team bonding chemistry, like mental side.
I don't know, because he did drafts for TSM. It's possible that he.
I don't think Weldon ever did drafts.
And he also did drafts for G2 last year when they went to Worlds.
Are you thinking of the same person?
Yeah, Weldon. Yeah, he was the head coach of G2 last year.
Because I don't think he was ever the head coach for TSM.
He was at one point.
I swear that he was just the like I don't know, mental health. Like
it was when they fired what's his name, Parth. Weldon took over for a few games, and that was it.
Oh, I have to take your word for it because I don't remember that at all. But yeah, no, CLG. I think that like you make some valid points. They have looked really good, but I don't think one split of looking really good makes for a champion. Like we've also only seen them looking really good in best of ones. I don't know if that's going to translate to best of 3, best of 5 series. As well as it does in the best of 1 scenario. Team Liquid just looks, even on paper, but obviously in record as well, so they've backed it up across the board. They look like the strongest team. They have played like the strongest team. I really don't see a team like I know that I will be predicting them to be, even though we still have 2 weeks left to play in the regular split. Just from what I've seen so far, Cloud9 is like the team that I feel most people would say like has the chance, but they haven't looked anywhere near as good as Team Liquid in my opinion. This split, CLG, I think it's maybe we have a higher opinion of them because they have exceeded expectations like a lot.
I think they just look like the most balanced team in the league, even over Team Liquid. I think they just look like the most balanced team in the league. I don't think they're better than Liquid. Liquid's going to kick their ass more often than not, but they're just incredibly balanced.
And anybody who right now says TSM like would be in the mix for beating them, I think is crazy. Like, being a fan, I would absolutely love to see that happen. I would love to see them look like they did last split in the playoffs. But unless that patch change does something like drastic, I don't foresee that happening.
Acadian gets played in Italy again.
Like, I don't know what it would take. I felt like The only way I foresee TSM having a chance is if Bjergsen 1v9s, and I don't take that out of the pile of possibilities for him because he is just that good of a player in my opinion. But Doublelift has proven to be a mountain that is hard to climb even for Bjergsen. And when you surround Doublelift with all of the talent that is on Team Liquid, I think that you're asking an awful lot of one player without the help of the rest of the team. And I just don't think the rest of the team right now in their current form is up to it.
All right, so we all agree. Team Liquid
Yes.
probably winning Summer
Yeah,
Split.
probably.
So cool. So other than that, I have a huge segment on Cloud9 TSM I want to talk about next week. So if you guys are okay not talking about either of those two teams next week, we will talk about them a lot next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Cool. So let's get to our picks then. So the first game, potential playoff preview, is Team Liquid versus Optic Gaming.
What's the rule?
Like I said, we have a rule. We don't pick against Team Liquid, so Team Liquid's winning. There is a case to be made for Optic, I will say. I mean,
After last week, especially.
it would be fun to see, but I'm still picking Team Liquid.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't foresee Dokla getting to play Aatrox.
There's a lot I like to say about Dokla too. He's heavily improved, but
I would agree, but this last weekend he looked absolutely insane on Aatrox, and therefore I do not think that Team Liquid is going to allow him to play.
Man, that means they gotta ban Aatrox and Poppy, which by the way, the patch they're playing on this time, Poppy got buffed.
Well, I guess Impact does play Aatrox or Poppy, probably.
Which, by the way, I think Aatrox got nerfed to the ground because in the most recent patch they got rid of his reviving mechanic completely.
That would do it.
Yeah, so that's not a thing anymore. Which, by the way, I hope we see Blitzcrank from Alpha Moon with Blitzcrank's new buff and that he can remove shields from people. I think that's dope as hell, and I would love to see Blitzcrank in the meta. But last time he was in the meta, he got nerfed to shit. So, anyway, the next game is Cloud9 versus FlyQuest. I think we're all picking FlyQuest here, right? Or Cloud9.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you joking?
I thought you were trolling us, just expecting us to all say yes to the question, and nope.
I meant to say Cloud9. I was looking at FlyQuest logo though.
I feel like Sanders and I have already picked the next matchup too, just from our discussion.
Oh yeah,
100 Thieves
it's 100
versus
Thieves.
Golden Guardians.
It's 100 Thieves for sure.
Yeah, 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians. Yeah, we're all picking 100 Thieves, team on the rise. The next one is TSM versus Echo Fox. Okay, look, I understand like some people may be down on TSM, but if you dare pick them against Echo Fox, I want whatever you're smoking. So TSM.
Yeah, TSM for sure.
That's the first day just looks like it's pretty straightforward.
The next one is CLG versus Clutch Gaming. Now, CLG has dropped some silly ones this summer, despite the fact I think they're the most balanced team. But I don't think they dropped this one here. But I do think Clutch has a shot, like a 75-25 shot.
Yeah, of course they have a shot, but I think in most cases, CLG definitely wins this.
I don't think it's an absolute given that CLG wins it, despite the fact I picked them.
Hooney, when he got to play his best champion last week in Rumble, looked pretty awful in that game. And CLG has looked pretty damn good. I know that Hooney is just one player, but again, Clutch is a fairly inconsistent team, and CLG has been a big surprise and played very well all splits. So I think it's pretty straightforward that CLG is the favorite.
All right, cool. So the next game is going to be Optic versus Golden Guardians. I mean, we've all kind of made our piece on Golden Guardians, right? We're picking Optic here, I'm assuming.
Yep,
I am.
Crown and Medios look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dokla's improvements.
Like you said, Dokla, yeah.
Good, yeah. Arrow and Big are kind of a question mark, which is why I question them in playoffs, but
I just said Team Liquid doesn't allow Dokla to play Aatrox. I think Hanser is cocky enough in his ability, and Golden Guardians has not proven to be the greatest strategic drafting team that I could definitely see Golden Guardians giving Dokla Aatrox if Aatrox is still good. I guess I don't know which patch they're playing on.
They will be playing on the new patch because it came
Okay,
out.
well, if that's the case, then I guess it doesn't matter if they give it to him or not. But.
Yeah. So, the next one is 100 Thieves versus TSM. You know, I think some would call this one tough, especially after last week's results. But you know, my TSM, everyone else's TSM is 8-6. My TSM is 3-3. I still like what they're doing. It's not the most impressive in the world, but they've only been playing with what they've decided with for 3 weeks. I'm still giving them the benefit of the doubt for now, despite the fact I am high on 100 Thieves. I think they're better than 100 Thieves still. If they lose to 100 Thieves, I'm heavily going to reflect on what I think of TSM. But for now,
I think that's fair, and I actually 100% agree with what you said, minus the 3-3 thing.
For now, I'm drinking the TSM Kool-Aid one more time. 100 Thieves. Oh my God,
Jesus,
they're beating 100 Thieves. Jesus, words are still hard.
So, like I was saying, I agree 100% with you, minus the 3-3 stuff. I get why you're saying that, but like, I haven't been overly impressed with TSM all split. I've made that pretty well known, I feel like, on the show. Like, had lots of worries for this team and everything, but yeah, I still got to ride with them. Although I we were saying the 75-25 for a couple of other games. I would give this like a 60-40. I really think that it's a very close matchup. 100 Thieves has a very real shot to win this game.
Yeah, I think this game will be close, but I do think it'll go the way of 100 Thieves, and that's just because, like I said earlier, I haven't been horribly convinced of TSM's play over the last couple of weeks. Even though I know that whole 3-3 thing, I think there's some merit to it. But I mean, they had to cheese kind of their win this weekend.
It wasn't a good win against Golden Guardians.
Right, it wasn't the most convincing win, so. I like what 100 Thieves doing. Ryu is playing out of his goddamn mind. Amazing in this kind of, LCS season where we're talking all about the importance of the jungler and how good Amazing's been. It's hard for me to look at all of them kind of coming together like this as a team that can't beat TSM. So I will definitely take 100 Thieves for this.
You know what I
think that's fair.
You know what I think is heavily in favor of 100 Thieves, which like almost made me pick 100 Thieves, but I didn't. I really think Sven's late game is bad.
Yeah, no, I think Bang is way better than what Sven is showing this split.
And I think Bang and Aframu are gonna beat Sven Smoothie pretty handily. So I also think Bjergsen's gonna handle Ryu pretty well. And I'm pretty sure that, Acadian can do just fine against Amazing. So I'm picking my battle here, right? Do I pick, the bot lane advantage, or do I pick the mid lane, advantage? And I'm picking the mid lane advantage here. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm not impressed with Sven and Bang and Aframu. I imagine they're gonna light them up. So I think it's fair to pick 100 Thieves. All right, next one is Cloud9 versus Team Liquid. We're still following our rule, but
it'll be a good game.
You know what's funny is I actually, despite the fact that Cloud9 beat Team Liquid last time, I am not convinced that that Cloud9 can do it again. That bot lane just bothers me, and you're asking them to play double Lifton core JJ.
No, that's fair.
I'm sorry. It's Team Liquid.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, the next one is Echo Fox for CLG. CLG?
Yeah, no question.
This week sucks.
Fox is bad.
Fox is bad. Quality analysis.
I think this is the closest. I mean, I may be wrong, but this is probably outside of 100 Thieves and TSM. I think this might be one of the closer games.
I'm
CG versus Fly.
I'm actually pretty excited for Team Liquid versus Optic, but that's just me.
That's true. That's true.
I really want to see how those teams match up. But Clutch Gaming versus Fly. So you know what? I'm actually picking Clutch here because I think Clutch has a legitimate shot at making the playoffs. I don't think if I picked Clutch, I would say they wouldn't make any noise against Cloud9 or CLG, but they're just so fun to watch. Like, even though they're not very good, they bring out some interesting champions. They put out an interesting style, and like they've stuck with it, right? They said, this is what we're good at. This is what we're going to do. It's not like working that well, but it's what they want to do, and they're sticking with it. And I kind of like that. And it's fun. It's not boring like Golden Guardians or Echo Fox. By the way, Echo Fox, I don't even know what the fuck they're doing. They've gone through 3 junglers and 2 mid laners, and they're garbage.
That's fair.
I hate how I feel straightforward these picks have been for me this week, and I'm also going with Clutch. I wanted to do I haven't really made an upset pick. I like to do one for each region really every week. This seems like the one to do, but honestly, with as bad as FlyQuest has looked, I think that they're going to check out. I think that Clutch has a lot to be playing for and has looked much improved. I again think that at some point in time we are going to be talking about the Cody Sun pickup as being probably the biggest impact pickup for a team this split. And if I was going to argue, I guess, for FlyQuest before, it would have been in the bot lane with Wild Turtle, but I honestly don't know if I would give the advantage to him over Cody Sun. So, as much as I want to pick the upset, I'm going to pick Clutch here as well.
If you wanted to talk about that, I'd probably say it's Rune for CLG.
Okay, that's also very fair, but Clutch without Cody Sun would probably be a 10th place team, not a
garbage.
Not a we're possibly making the playoffs team,
Yeah.
even if it is 6th place.
So anyway, yeah, I agree with you. So that'll do it for tonight. We're gonna have.
No, Tanner. Who you picking?
Sorry. Yeah, no, we're just. I want to pick Fly here, but they're just too bad. So I think it's definitely CG. For sure.
Man, I skipped Tanner 3 times this week. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, you're checking out hardcore. No,
I suck. I suck, dude. No, it's fine. Anyways, so that's going to wrap up the end of our show. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Of course, we are here. We try to put up the episodes every Wednesday night, late at night, usually. So I would just check it out Thursday morning. But I am Jacob Sminted Sanders. This is James Selceus Christensen below me, and Tanner Blitzerama Brelje right below him. You can find us at 6 Dorans on our Discord. You can find me on Twitter at JCSandersTBS, or you can find Tanner at twitch.tv/Blitzerama. I don't even remember the last time you streamed. It was like a week ago.
Today.
Right?
Yesterday. Yeah, it was today, actually.
Today? Oh, okay.
I actually have an actual schedule now, and it's on this Twitch stream. If you go to twitch.tv/Blitzerama, you can see it today.
Nice. TFT.
Anyway,
right?
No, Mario Baseball again.
Oh, Mario Baseball.
Yeah,
dude,
we're back. We're back on that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I gotta watch again. I love watching you play Mario Baseball. So fun.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I actually love watching that. So, that's it from us, guys. So, for one more time, from me, Jacob Smith Sanders, and my co-host, Jamie Celsius Christensen, and Tanner Blitzerama Brelje, we will see you all on the Rift.
See ya.